Everybody, and welcome back to the Lunchable Sports Podcast. It's been a while. It's been a lot, like 7 months. I just been pretty busy with school, busy with the football season. Ian has hockey season, so just caught up in that. And we finally got some time to do a podcast. We'll try and get some more out during spring break, but happy to be back.
Yeah, I don't know, just off the start, I lost my voice a little bit, so just it's not too bad, but do the best I can here. But yeah, I'm good. It's happy to be back. It's been a while, but I'm excited.
Yeah, today we're going to be going over my first mock draft for the NFL draft coming up in April. The combine just happened. We saw some pretty crazy stuff happen, and we're going to be going over that in my mock draft here. Here we are in my mock draft 1.0. With the number one pick in the draft, I got the Jaguars selecting Aidan Hutchinson, edge from Michigan. I think they would have gone Evan Neal here if it wasn't before the combine. I mean, Hutchinson just kind of put on a show. People are busting him for his 40 time, but I don't think a D lineman has to run a 4.5 40 or have freak athletic ability to go number one overall. But in this case, Hutchinson does have freak athletic ability other than his 40 time. Yeah, great 3-cone drill, great jumping, great shuttle drills. So that athleticism doesn't bother me because he has proven that he can be athletic. And he was just a force in the Michigan defense. I mean, he carried that Michigan defense. They had other pieces in place, but he was that top dog on that defense. Jaguars franchise tagged their left tackle Cam Robinson the other day. So I think this is one of the main reasons why they would go Hutchinson opposed to Neal or Kwanu. But I think Hutchinson right now is lock number one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we're both Michigan fans, so we saw Hutchinson all year and what he did. So I think I agree with you there. Just like you said, the combine, he kind of put on a show. Um, all of it, even the 40, I think he did pretty well in his 40 drill compared to like what his position is and everything. um, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think I agree with you completely there. Hutchinson won.
Yeah, next pick, I got the Detroit Lions selecting Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame. This might be like somewhat of a shock to some people. Why don't you have Thibodeau there? I'm not completely sold on Thibodeau. I think Hamilton's definitely the safer pick. He's going to be a stud no matter what. He reminds me a lot of Derwin James. I mean, he's 6'4", 220 safety. People are upset about his 40 time too. He ran a 4.59 at the combine. I definitely think he plays way faster than that. But he definitely reminds me a lot of Derwin James coming out. Big time hitter, not afraid to get his nose dirty in the run game. And he shows good pass coverage ability. And I think that's exactly what the Lions need on their defense.
Yeah, I think that he's good in pass coverage. He had, just like you said, that 40 time. I think he plays faster than watching some of the Notre Dame games. It's like the combine is not always telling, you can say. He's good in pass coverage, just like you said. He's 6'4" and he's 220. So like, I mean, that's just a freak athlete running a 4.5. When you think about it, um, he's in the 100 percentile for his broad jump and the 81st percentile for his vertical jump. So I think just all around, this guy's a freak athlete, and I think the Lions would be stupid not to take a guy like that here.
Yeah, definitely. I think they definitely would love to have Hutchinson fall in their laps here, but I don't know if it's going to happen now. But my next pick, I got the Houston Texans selecting Evan Neal, offensive tackle at Alabama. This is a guy who's jumped around from number one pick. I've even seen him gone around 5 to 6 in some mock drafts, but I don't think he falls to the top 5. He goes 3 here for me. He's a freak athlete. I mean, there's a picture of him. I'll try and find it and pull it up during the editing process. But there's a picture of him, and he just does not look like 340 pounds or 320 pounds, excuse me. He's 6'7", 320, and he moves fast in the pass blocking. He's quick hands. He can run block very well. I think Houston, to get another top guy on that O-line to help build the future, would be really good for them.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think that you shouldn't overthink it here. Evan Neal, I mean, he's coming from Alabama, which is the winningest of winning programs. He's a winner. I mean, just like you said, he's a freak athlete. All these guys in the top five, just freak athletes. I think if you get a chance to add a guy like that who can just be a rock up front and build around him for the future and know that you got a guy like that protecting your quarterback, I think that it's a no brainer to take him there.
Absolutely. So my next pick, I got the Jets taking Ikem Ekwonu, offensive tackle from NC State. This is another guy who I think is neck and neck with Evan Neal. I just don't think he has the size as Evan Neal, but he definitely makes up for that with his athleticism. His hands are really quick. He's just kind of a cement boulder there at left tackle. You can't get around him. He's set in stone. The Jets already got Mekhi Becton, but I definitely think they need another tackle there. Whether Mekhi Becton moves to right tackle where he played at Louisville, or I'm pretty confident Kwanu could play well there too. Just getting Zach Wilson all the protection needs will definitely benefit the Jets in the future.
Yeah, I think that either way, Evan Neal or Kwanu, I think that you can't go wrong with these guys. I'm surprised that you got Thibodeau. Have him for the future, protecting your quarterback. I think that you got to take him and see how it pans out. But I think these O linemen, you gotta not overthink it and just roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. My next pick, I got the New York Giants selecting Trayvon Walker, edge, Georgia. I mean, this is a guy who completely won the combine. He ran a 4.51 in the 40. He had great jumping. He ran a great shuttle time. And this is a guy who was a big piece of Georgia's defense. He was playing outside linebacker, edge rusher, defensive tackle, even at some points. I mean, I think getting a guy this versatile on the Giants defense and this athletic would be so beneficial for their defense. And I'm really excited to see what he can do in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that all these guys from Georgia, I mean, they just won national championship. I think that they're all freak athletes. I mean, all these guys, I keep saying it about them, but these guys are all just freak athletes that can play all around. And he's so versatile. And the Giants can add a guy like this. I think that can help them a lot on defense.
Yeah. So my next pick, I got the Panthers selecting Malik Willis, quarterback, Liberty. I think he looked the best out of the quarterbacks of the combine. He was throwing deep ball after deep ball, perfect in stride. He's definitely got the strongest arm in this class. You know, the biggest knock on him is he's from Liberty. It's a small school, but I think we've seen plenty of small school quarterbacks do great in the NFL. So that's not a huge concern of mine. I'm not in love with this quarterback class. So I think any other quarterback class, he wouldn't be a top 10 pick. But I think because the Panthers struggles recently, Darnold definitely did not live up to expectations last year. I think this coaching staff and front office might be rushed into taking a quarterback. So I think if that's the case, Malik Willis is my top guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that he's my number one quarterback too in this class. Just like you said, this quarterback class isn't great. So I think that if the Panthers are gonna take a quarterback, I think it's got to be Malik Willis. He's the most versatile guy. Just like you said, he's got a hell of an arm. Super athletic. Deep balls in stride. He's got touch. So I think that if the Panthers take him here, I think they can develop into a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm. My next pick, I got the Giants taking Charles Cross, tackle from Mississippi State. I think Charles Cross is definitely up there with Neal and Ekwonu. I just think he's a tier below. Just in the run game, I think they're a little bit better and might be a little more athletic. But Cross is an excellent pass protector. I don't think Andrew Thomas has lived up to top 5 pick hype. At left tackle, you can always move him to right tackle, but I'm pretty confident Cross can cement himself there at left tackle for the Giants. Definitely in this draft class, they need to help Daniel Jones and with his development. And I think if you're going with 2 top 10 picks, at least one of them has to be to the O-line.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Giants need to help Daniel Jones as much as they can. If they're gonna roll with him as their guy, they got to do everything they can to help him out and give him some weapons. And I think that starts on the O-line. So a guy like Cross can come in. He can play right away and be a force on the O-line and try to make things easier for Daniel Jones. So I like that pick.
Yeah, next pick I got the Atlanta Falcons selecting Kayvon Thibodeau, edge Oregon. This might come as a shock to some people to see him this low, but from what I've read from sources like Tom McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, there at the combine, they have said that scouts aren't really high on Kayvon Thibodeau. He's shown that he's kind of a quitter. I mean, there's some times where in the biggest moments he kind of backs down, and even during the combine, he like just stopped halfway through, and nobody knew what the reason was for that. And the people were saying if he tested high, he could even jump to number one overall, but he wasn't exceptional in any of the drills. Um, I just think definitely the athleticism is still there, but I think he falls a little bit because of all the things I just mentioned.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, maybe he goes to a higher team, like higher in the draft, that a team takes a chance on him because of his athleticism and his potential. But I don't know. I think I agree with you there. I think that it's a little bit risky taking him up high. So I think that him falling in the draft is not super surprising, or it wouldn't be surprising to me if it happens. So we'll see, but I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Yeah. Next pick, we got the Seahawks making that big trade with the Russell Wilson, and they selected Ahmad Sauce Gardner. I think definitely, I think it might have been a better trade for the Seahawks. It was obviously time for them to move on from Russ. And I think getting the package they did, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, getting a young guy like Noah Fant on that team was actually a really good trade for them. And they start off here by taking Sauce Gardner, my number one corner. He's really long and lengthy. He ran a 4.4 40 for being that long and lengthy, 6'3" with really wide arms. He never even gave up a touchdown. I know Cincinnati's a bit of a smaller school, but they've shown this year that they can compete with the top dogs. I think getting a guy like Sauce Gardner to start that rebuild's huge for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think that after shocking the football world with trading Russell Wilson the other day, I think that looking on the defensive end is something that they need to do. Um, sorry, geez. Their defense, their pass coverage hasn't been great the past few years. Jamal Adams hasn't been great. So I think that adding a corner at this high in the draft is something that they should do.
Yeah, my next pick at number 10, I got the New York Jets selecting Jermaine Johnson, edge from Florida State. Jermaine Johnson was one of the guys who has risen up draft boards since the beginning of the year. He was top 5 in the nation in sacks this year. He was a transfer. He transferred from Georgia to Florida State after not getting much playing time there. Florida State, he just excelled. And at the Senior Bowl, he was one of the top guys there, just getting around everybody at the Senior Bowl. Played really good in the game. At the combine, he looked really good during the combine. And he has a high motor, and I heard he nailed his interviews. This is a guy who has a ton of football knowledge. I think that should benefit from putting on the defense.
Yeah, I think that transferring from Georgia, one of those big time SEC schools, and going to a team like Florida State, I think really helped him. And just like you said, he's climbed up draft boards and had a good Senior Bowl and everything like that. So he tied Aiden Hutchinson with 14 sacks to lead the NFL draft class. So I think this guy, he's proven in college that he can get to the quarterback and he can impact games. So I think that you can't go wrong with a guy like this.
For these next couple of things, I'm going to go announce my next 5 picks and a little brief overview of them. And then Aiden's going to tell me his favorite play out of that bunch, kind of like we did in the past with our NBA mocks. And so pick 11, I got the Washington Commanders selecting Trevor Penning, tackle from Northern Iowa. They need a guy who's going to protect their new quarterback, Carson Wentz. O-line was a big issue for them. So I think adding a physical, really athletic freak like Trevor Penning will be huge for them. Next up, I got the Vikings selecting Trent McDuffie, cornerback from Washington. McDuffie showed this season that he can be locked down in man coverage. He's very agile and swift in zone, and he's not afraid to come up and hit you in the passing game, those quick screens or running back pitches. And at the combine, he tested really well. He looked really fluid hips. He ran a fast 40, so he's definitely my number 2 corner. Next pick, I got the Browns taking Jordan Davis. I mean, Jordan Davis was the biggest winner at the combine. I mean, to be 6'6", 340 and run a 4.78 40 is absolutely absurd. I've never seen anything like it. And for the Browns, for him to rise all the way here and for the Browns to get him At 13 is tremendous value and will definitely be a big addition on the D line. Pick 14, I got the Ravens selecting Devontae Wyatt, his teammate from Georgia, defensive tackle. I definitely think the Ravens need to do a better job at defending the run, which they kind of didn't do well last year, and was one of the reasons that they didn't do as well. Brandon Williams getting up there in age, Calais Campbell, who knows if he's going to come back for another year. They need another young guy on that D line. And then finally, we got 15. I got the Eagles taking Derek Stingley, corner LSU. This is a guy who has, in my opinion, top 5 pick potential, but he's gotten injured over the course of the last 2 years, played outstanding his freshman year, but couldn't really stay on the field since then.
Yeah, I like all those picks a lot. I think that Derek Stingley, he's got tremendous potential, but just like you said, he has injury problems. So you have to be careful with that. But I think out of those guys, I like Jordan Davis a lot. I mean, just like you said, he's an absolute freak of an athlete. Talking about the combine, how fast he was and how big he is. I think that he can come in the NFL right away and be like a huge, huge impact player and change whatever team he's on. So I like Jordan Davis a lot.
Yeah, my next pick, at 16, I got the Eagles selecting Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from Ohio State. Wilson's my wide receiver 1 in the class. I mean, he's that mixture of speed. He ran a 4.3 40 and jumping ability. He's not afraid to rise for those jump balls. And he's really everything you can ask in a modern day receiver. And I think the Eagles having 3 first-round picks, investing in a wide receiver to go alongside Devontae Smith is a smart option. Next up, we got the Chargers, and they're selecting David Ajabo, edge of Michigan. This is one of the most athletic guys in the draft, too. I feel like I keep saying athletic, but that's kind of what describes his class. But Ajabo's just freaky off the edge. He's really fast. He's really fluid. He's got very good pass rush moves. He just needs to work a little bit on his run stopping. But getting Joey Bosa, partner in crime, down in LA, where they're going to be playing Russell Wilson, Mahomes, Carr twice a year, they need somebody who's going to get after the quarterback, not just Joey Bosa. Next pick, I got the Saints selecting Chris Olave, wide receiver from Ohio State. Olave was one of the combine risers as well. He ran a 4.2 unofficial 40. And then when they got it back, it was still a 4.3. That's still very fast, faster than people thought. He's a smooth criminal is what I've heard people describe him as. Really fluid in his route running, gets open, catches the ball. And then 19, the Eagles need another defensive lineman. I got them selecting George Karlaftis here from Purdue. His mix of power and pass rush puts him in the first round. Didn't have an insane combine. Actually, I don't think he participated. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. But he's definitely athletic for being that big, and I think that's someone that the Eagles will benefit to.
Yeah, I like all those guys too. I mean, just like you said, I feel like I keep saying this, but all these guys are just super athletic. And I think you can't go wrong with a lot of them. But I think I'm gonna have to show some love to David Ojabo, our guy from Michigan. You saw what he did with Hutchinson in Ann Arbor this year. So I think if you put him with a guy like Joey Bosa in LA, I think that would be really, really scary for that division in the NFL.
Yeah, next up, I got the Steelers taking my second quarterback off the board, Kenny Pickett. They definitely need a guy who's going to replace Big Ben. He retired. He just looked terrible this year. Regardless if he came back, they were going to need to draft a quarterback. And Kenny Pickett, I have him falling a little bit because of his hand size, combine. He had very small hands. He's double jointed, which he says. I don't know how much that's true, but he's had some fumble issues at Pitt. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he falls in the second round because of this. But I think if he doesn't have the fumbling problem in the NFL, then he'd definitely be a top 15 pick. I think that's good value for the Steelers here. Next up, I got the Patriots selecting Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback Clemson. They might lose J.C. Jackson for agency. They traded Stephon Gilmore. They really only got Jonathan Jones here right now. And they definitely need a guy who's going to come in and play great man coverage. You can put him on an island. He's fast. He's fluid. Andrew Booth Jr. would be a great addition for the Patriots. After that, I got Jamison Williams going here to the Raiders. They got a lot of other needs, but, unfortunately, it's terrible what happened with Henry Ruggs, but they're going to need to replace their speed guy with another Alabama speedster and Jamison Williams. When you're playing that many great offenses, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, there's not much you can do to the defense to stop them. So why not add some more offensive weapons for Derek Carr and Jamison Williams? You need to score some points if you're playing those kind of teams twice a year. At 23, I have the Cardinals selecting Kyer Elam, cornerback Florida. He's one of my most underrated players in the draft. I mean, he clamped up Jamison Williams and John Mechie when they played Alabama. Some injury problems have led him to fall a little bit in drafts, but this is still tremendous value for the Cardinals getting him here. He ran a fast 40, fluid hips. So I'm excited to see what he can do if he goes to the Cardinals. And then finally, 24, we get the Cowboys selecting Devin Lloyd, linebacker, Utah. In my opinion, he's a top 10 talent if he didn't run a 4.740. I expect him to run a little faster than that. I think he plays way faster than that. But in all the other drills, I thought he looked good laterally. He moved quick. And I think he's a guy who is an example of the combine doesn't show everything.
Yeah, I think Devin Lloyd, I think he's a standout guy in these picks. I was talking about it with you a little bit at your house, but I think this guy's just a beast and he looks like a beast. And I think he plays like it too. So I think that whatever team can get him in the draft, I think that he's going to come in right away and be just a beast and a fierce competitor on the defensive end.
Yeah. Next up, I got the Bills selecting Drake London, wide receiver, USC. This is a guy who's in the top 15 for a lot of drafts. I just don't see that in him. I'm not as high on him as other people are. He had an ankle injury to finish this year, which was why he couldn't compete in the combine. But he's 6'5", he's 220, and people are just calling him Mike Evans 2.0. I don't see that. I don't think he's as fast as Mike Evans. Mike Evans was running like way faster than Drake London would have ran. I view him more as a Kenny Galladay type, which isn't bad by any means, but I just don't think it's top 15 pick hype. I think the Bills would be happy to match him alongside Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis, especially with Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders being gone, most likely. And at 26, we got the Titans selecting Nakobe Dean, linebacker, Georgia. The linebackers were very brutal last year. I think we saw it a lot in the playoffs, getting exposed, especially the Bengals with Joe Mixon, and getting a guy like Nakobe Dean would help him out a ton. And then at 27, I have the Buccaneers getting their Tom Brady replacement, Sam Howell, quarterback, UNC. They drafted Kyle Trask last year, but I'm not sure if they're really high on him. If you get a guy like Sam Howell, which I think is better than, in my opinion, is better than Trask. He has the arm talent. He had a little bit of a letdown year. This is a guy who's projected a top 5 pick before going into this year. So I think the potential is definitely there, and I think Bruce Arians can definitely develop him.
Yeah, I think that the Bucs need a quarterback. I agree with you. I don't think Kyle Trask is really that guy. So I think Sam Howell can step in, and I think Bruce Arians can develop him, like you said. So it'll be interesting seeing who can replace Tom Brady. But I think this could be a good step if he can develop into a good player.
Yeah. My next pick, I got the Packers selecting Johann Dodson, wide receiver, Penn State. It kind of shocked me when they signed Rodgers. I definitely thought he was gone. But Rodgers is back. Devontae's back. Why not fill him up with some more weapons? Lazard and Valdez-Scantling, I'm not even sure if they'll be able to re-sign them because of all the cap from the Rodgers deal and franchise tagging Devontae Adams. They're not have a ton of cap space. So bringing a guy like Johann Dodson, a speedster, would definitely be huge for that offense. Next up, I got the Dolphins selecting Tyler Linderbaum, center from Iowa. The Dolphins have gone O-line so much in the past couple of years, but all the guys have taken really haven't hit. Getting a guy like Linderbaum's a plug-and-play franchise center for you. It would definitely help out with Tua, and it would definitely help out with the run game. So if I'm the Dolphins, I'm a stack to take him here. And at 30, I got the Chiefs selecting Daxton Hill, safety, Michigan. He's my number 2 safety in the class. I thought he was one of the biggest combine winners. He looked very fast at the combine. In my opinion, he was the smoothest DB out of all the DBs at the combine. He's really fast, really good ball instincts, really hard hitter. And with the Chiefs potentially losing Tyrann Mathieu, they need to get a deep ball safety, and that's exactly what Dax Hill is. 31, I got the Bengals taking another small school stud, Bernhard Raymond, tackle from Central Michigan. Bernhard Raymond, if he isn't at Central Michigan, if he's putting on what he did in like a top school, he's a top 10 pick easily. Just his pass moves or his pass protecting skills, his run blocking, all of it makes exactly what the Bengals need with a weak O-line. Their O-line is one of the biggest reasons they lost the Super Bowl. So I think kicking him to the right side with Jonah Williams to the left would definitely be in their best interest for the future. And then finally, wrapping up this mock draft, I have the line selecting Christian Harris, linebacker, Alabama. Linebacker is one of the line's biggest needs that they needed to fill in this offseason. And Christian Harris was insane at the combine. Running a 4.40 for somebody his size is just absurd. I thought he made a ton of good plays in the college football playoffs, and I think the Lions would be super happy if he's here when they pick.
Yeah, I think just wrapping up the mock draft. I think this draft class is super athletic. Definitely defensive heavy. I think that a lot of these guys can be interchangeable, and I don't know, I'm excited to see how it goes. But yeah, I agree with all your picks. I think that I would have had a very similar mock draft to you. But yeah, I just want to say I think that this is one of the most athletic draft class I've seen, at least. So I'm excited to see how all these guys in the NFL.
Yeah, it's excited to be back. The Lunch Table Sports Podcast is officially back. You can expect maybe some March Madness brackets coming up the week ahead, maybe some more mock drafts, some free agency reactions. So with that being said, we'll see you in the next video.